Hello and welcome to ActivTrades. Today I'll be bringing you a new feature discussing the biggest moving currency pairs in the foreign exchange market. I'll also be taking a quick look at the economic calendar and having a look at the high impact news events that will be released during the day. I'd just like to give you a brief introduction to myself. My name is Nathan Batchelor. I'm a veteran foreign exchange trader. I've traded for various hedge funds and proprietary trading firms. I'm also a chief market analyst. Now, I'd just like to take a look at the Japanese yen. So, what's been going on in this pair? Well, overnight we've had a large move up. It's slightly selling off now, but we can see that from really a trading perspective, what we've seen since really the New York session, we've seen a large amount of buying come in from just above the 111 area, and I think it's very it was a very psychological rebound, because if we look on the 4 hour time frame, we can see after we've had the large drop off from the 121 area, you see we've set a low down at 110.90. So if we go into the psychology of a trader's mind, a trader's mind, and especially a professional trader, they'll be looking to test these lows. And if we're making a higher low, then what we've seen, and certainly what we saw yesterday, was buyers pile in, because if we're not making new lows, then certainly traders are then looking for opportunities. And what more of a safer opportunity than to test within like 10 to 20 pips of a former low. We can't break it, so traders have piled in, and we've seen a large move, and especially overnight in the Japanese session, we've seen this inverse head and shoulder really play out, and we've had a move all the way up to 112.62. So what have we got now on the Japanese yen? We've got one low in, we've got a second higher low in, so I'm expecting that traders will be testing again lower, and if there is a second higher low in place, then I'd expect the buying to continue, and from here on, we can certainly see if there is a new. I can imagine that traders will then be moving forward and testing last week's high of 114.87. So that's something to be mindful of as we go into the day. And there was certainly we can say 150 pips worth of movement going on in the Asian session there. So after we found the buying in the late New York session really start to step up, and we can see that traders have come out. There's a nice head and shoulders pattern that has played out there. Looking at the Aussie dollar again, it's another really interesting currency pair. What we've seen as well, and I think it's caught quite a lot of people out, is you can see that we've made over the early part of the week, we made some ground towards the 172.50 area, and from there we've started to drop off yesterday. But if we look on the chart here, we've got from the start of February we've made a higher high. So at the moment, traders are they're very cautious around this pair, because we have made a new high. If we go back to the December high, we're still quite a ways off the 73.80 mark, so this is still very much middle range. But very interestingly, we've got two reversal candles, but I think yesterday's is a kind of forming on some type of doji candle. So for me, if I'm going to be short, I prefer to be short near the top of the range, but I think traders again will need to test the 72.50 high to see really if that is the genuine high before they go short again, really. And if I was to look at this on a 4 hour time frame, we can see that there's quite a meaty head and shoulders type pattern developing, which is actually quite similar to the euro dollar chart. So we've got to bear that in mind as we go forward, and certainly I can see that traders are going to be quite hesitant to take short positions until the high of this week really that was put in place. I think that is potentially needs to be retested, and I think they'll be looking around the 72.30 to the 72.40 area for some clues as to whether we're going to be putting in new highs, or that was indeed the high for the end of the month put in place. But if we look on a if we look on a daily basis, we've certainly got a couple of decent reversal candles in there, and I think, you know, something to bear in mind as well, you know, is the inverse, is the larger inverse head and shoulder that we're certainly playing in. From there, obviously, we've got the euro, Japanese yen, which has been a really interesting currency pair lately, because we've seen again, you know, we're sitting inside this huge head and shoulders pattern, and I think if the, you know, we're finally seeing a breakout in this pair. If we look back to last year, I think the low was set at 126, certainly towards the lower end of 126, and we've broken that quite easily. You know, this early part of the year we've tested it twice and come up, but now we've definitively broken down, and I think we're going to have to look at some form of historical chart to have a look, and you can just see here that this really is starting to fall, and I think you know, there has been overnight, there's certainly been a temporary bounce in this pair. We can see to the upside, but I think it's just purely, you can see after we set a low yesterday at 22.30, it's just a form of a relief rally and perhaps some bargain hunting coming in. But if we see, I should say, if we see the ECB start to act, we can certainly see this on the lower bound, but also we must bear in mind what the US dollar Japanese yen is doing, because obviously this is a currency that's being pulled both ways. So today, the US dollar Japanese weakening, this can obviously put it up in the short term, this can obviously push it up, but any type of risk aversion, any type of easing for Mario Draghi, we can certainly see this currency continue to be pressured. But for now, I just see this temporary bounce as some form of relief rally, and you know, you can see at the bottom there, yesterday, you know, on the 30 minutes, it does look like we put in a decent low there, and I should say that if traders are looking to go long, they'd certainly need that low tested again, and you know, if you're looking to go short, I should imagine a retest of the breakout areas around the 126 area. You could definitely see some interest from traders potentially up there. So at the moment we're in quite a precarious range, but it's definitely becoming much more of an interesting currency pair to watch. I'd just like to have a look at the economic calendar here, just to make you aware of the data that is coming out today. We can see in the UK, probably the most impactful data of the morning is going to be the UK GDP release, which is coming out with the second estimate. I think everybody's aware of the volatility around the pound since the referendum vote has been agreed, and also Boris Johnson's come into the race. So, you know, there's lots of volatility around that pair. So we'll be watching that for any disappointments. Also, the final reading of the CPI, that'll be important, because we have Mario Draghi potentially bringing in some new stimulus measures in the next March meeting, so all eyes on that. And then from there we move into the US session, where we'll be taking a look at the durable goods orders for the USA, and then we'll be moving on to unemployment claims, and then also core durable goods month on month. So there's plenty of data there for traders to be mindful of as we move forward into the day. So today, I hope you enjoyed the biggest movers, and I'll see you tomorrow.